What's up, guys? Your boys, 22K13. Going to talk about WWE Beast in the East 10 awesome moments. And this comes from WhatCulture.com. When WWE announced that they were planning on beaming most of a house show event from Japan live on the WWE network, there was a lot of excitement. When the company then advertised that Finn Balor would challenge Kevin Owens for the NXT heavyweight title, that excitement turned giddy, mainly due to Balor's history in the country. As it turned out, that pre-show excitement was largely justified because WWE The Beast and the East special was an event unlike any other on the WWE calendar, something which only helped it stand out. This was a very different feeling broadcast for the promotion, one which felt refreshing outside of the regular week-to-week grind. There were only 5 matches on the WWE Network presentation, with a further duo of dark match collisions taking place away from the camera. In the first, Cesaro defeated Diego before the Lucha Dragon emerged victorious over the New Day. Despite only a handful of bouts, all were worthwhile, and there's absolutely no reason why WWE shouldn't be doing this kind of thing regularly. With that in mind, what were some of the best and most intriguing moments from the show? Some of these are interesting because of how unique they felt, where others were entrenched in nostalgia. Number 10. Announcers were far more informative than usual. In many ways, The Beast in the East is exactly the kind of thing the WWE Network was made for. Not only does the service offer pretty much every pay-per-view, from WWF, WWE, WCW, and ECW, as well as a plethora of different content, but the network also eliminates worries about time zone difference when broadcasting shows due to the on-demand nature of the thing. Usually during telecasts, WWE announcers are this so concerned with promoting the network, talking about social media, discussing main event storyline, and practically everything else other than the match taking place in the ring before them. That's partly because there's so much to get through for the commentary team doing shows, but things felt different in Japan. Yes, Michael Cole and Byron Saxton did talk about Twitter, and yes, they did allude to main event angles such as Brock Lesnar vs. Seth Rollins, but they did so at the correct time. Better yet, who thought that they hear Cole discussing Dragon Gate on a WWE branded show? Or how about talking about Finn Balor's history in the Orient at Prince Devitt? Number 9. Jericho vs. Neville giving free reign. Similar fashion to the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view in 2005, it was a smart move to open up the televised portion of The Beast in the East with a lengthy match involving Chris Jericho, in the same way he paid homage to his history in ECW back in '05 when facing Lance Storm. Y2J was very much a Lionheart during his tussle with Neville in Tokyo. Little touches such as this only help differentiate the show from anything else WWE have been doing, which is definitely a good thing. There was a local flavor to proceeding, and both Jericho and Neville were clearly enjoying wrestling in a country they both have very fond memories of working in. Going over 15 minutes, the match itself was perfectly paced and had a physical story, something fans rarely see from opening bouts in WWE nowadays. Neville repeatedly kept going for his signature red arrow, but it would cost him in the end, as Jericho caught him with knees and finished him off with an old favorite. Number 8. Chris Jericho old school move. It simply had to happen, and it did. If Chris Jericho was going to pay tribute to his past performance in Japan and his old career in general, he had to use the move with fans most closely associated with a young Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Not only did the man break out in extremely rare lion salt, which had the Japanese crowd on their feet, but he also used an old friend to finish off Neville. Earlier in the bout, Jericho had used the WWE-style Walls of Jericho on his opponent, a move which is effectively just a Boston crab, but for the finish, He had something more traditional in mind, yet Y2J used the lion tamer, a move which involved way more contortion of his foe's spine than his regular WWE submission move. This was a nice touch, and the audience in attendance responded with kind. Once again, this made the match feel unique to this event because Jericho has very rarely used the move on WWE television. Number 7. Divas work more physical style than usual. As even most casual WWE fans know, there has been a lot said about the role of women in professional wrestling in 2015. Basically, a lot of the girls themselves don't feel they get as fair a shake of things as the guys, which is obviously because, well, they really don't. WWE owns Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are apparently of the same mindset, but Vince McMahon would like to keep things as they are. It's not exactly a secret that Vince sees the Divas as a side attraction, instead of a portion of the roster that deserves focus and attention. Nonetheless, the female performers in NXT have been earning rave reviews for their matches, bout which belong alongside the top contest involving men. As the Beast in the East, the girls once again showed their ability, facing off in a triple threat match. Nikki Bella defended her Diva title against both Paige and Tamina, and the result was a hard-hitting smasher of a bout. The women really went for it here, landing straight with venom, much more so than they normally would on regular WWE TV. Number 6. Tamina was over with the Japanese crowd. If there's one thing Tamina can't really claim usually, it's being firmly over with the crowd. Far from being solely her fault, the creative team have never really seemed to have all that much for the diva, probably because she doesn't really look like the typical WWE female. Larger and stronger than many of her peers, the daughter of Superfly Jimmy Snuka is not the kind of woman World Wrestling Entertainment would have had the focal point of the Divas division. For example, despite all of that, the fans in Tokyo really took a liking to her and even chanted her name for an extended spell. When was the last time there was a Tamina chant during a WWE show? Had it ever happened? In some form or fashion, Tamina should be used far more effectively than she is in the company because it's clear she has something to offer that different from the other females. It seemed unlikely the writing staff would put Tamina anytime soon, but she was over in Japan. Number 5. Lesnar vs. Kingston shows squash matches can still work. There was a time when squash matches were the norm on WWF, WWE TV. Tuning into any other promotion programming in the 1980s and early 90s usually meant seeing enhancement matches galore, bouts specifically designed to make the star name look better. Somewhere along the line, they have largely been phased out in favor of more competitive matches that are laid out to make each performer look equal to the other. This is understandable because it could admittedly be a little dull to see bouts that would in effect a complete formality. However, Brock Lesnar's utter destruction of Kofi Kingston in the New Day in Japan directly shows that squash contests do still have a place in the industry. Realistically, Kingston didn't stand a chance in this one, but nobody expected him to. This was simply a showcase of Lesnar for the Japanese fans. It was a treat, and the announcer played up the fact that Brock could be about to do the same to WWE Champion Seth Rollins at the upcoming Battleground show. This was simple, perfect storytelling. Number 4. Finn Balor NXT title win was landmark moment. Speaking of perfect storytelling, what an utterly magical moment for Finn Balor, winning the NXT heavyweight title in the country where he earned his glowing reputation. Long before joining WWE, Balor as Virgil Prince David was one of the best wrestlers in the world. In Japan was where he made it all happen. For casual WWE fans, the promotion did a wonderful job of relaying the history of Balor in Japan before his match with Kevin Owens. It was said that winning the belt in Tokyo would be a defining moment in the man's thus far world-class career. And it was exactly that. Watching the conclusion of the match, the fan around ringside was right there with the guy. someone they had accepted as one of their own many years ago, one of the absolute best junior heavyweight Japanese wrestling had ever had to crow about. David Baylor would surely have this moment replayed throughout his run in WWE time and time again. Nobody who watched the Beat in the East could fail to notice what a supposed match Baylor and Owen put on, but the emotion in Baylor's eye once he held the title aloft was 1 year in the making. Number 3. Kevin Owens shows why he's the best heel in WWE. Is there a better heel in pro wrestling right now than Kevin Owens? Imagine even 3 years ago people saying that Kevin Steen from Ring of Honor would be lighting up WWE as one of the best villains on the entire roster. People would have giggled at the thought, because the man doesn't really fit the script as far as top stars in McMahon land go. During his match against Finn Balor in Japan, Owen exhibits exactly why so many folks are high on him right now, inside and out of WWE. Subtle touches are plenty to outline his stunning heel performance, such as running full pelt off the rope as though he was going through nail Balor with a low drop kick right before slapping on a chin lock and remarking that he hates this stupid country. Adding to that, on his walk to the ring, Owen noticed a group of fans in the front row, decked out in John Cena merchandise, getting in their face. The wrestler later direct an extra special "You Can't See Me" gesture at them while performing Cena patent five-knuckle shuffle move. That's the kind of heel WWE has been screaming out for a long time. Number 2. The real refreshing focus on NXT. Even though it was like a John Cena came who headlined the show, NXT was treated with extra special care throughout the Beast and the East. Not only did it never shine against the veteran Chris Jericho, it's not really the result of Jericho win that fans will remember outright, but the NXT heavyweight title was the one big title bout featured. The fans in Japan repeatedly chanted NXT whenever a performer linked to that brand was in the ring, which just goes to show how great a job WWE have done of making that part of their overall product seem special. Forget TNA and Ring of Honor. NXT is well on the way to becoming bigger than both of them, and already has. If management can keep up this kind of protection for NXT, presenting it as a big deal, the sky is the limit. It's obviously time for guys like Kevin Owens and Neville to be part of the main roster, and Finn Balor seems set to join them next, but NXT deserves to be showcased. And number 1, Japanese fans even embrace John Cena completely. When was the last time John Cena appeared on WWE television and wasn't booed at least once? Enthusiasts would have to really dig hard to find a match doing which the franchise of the entire company had been jeered, because it pretty much happened every single time he entered a match. Not so in Japan. Cena was treated akin to Hulk Hogan by the Japanese faithful. In general, the Japanese wrestling fans are perhaps stereotypically regarded as more respectful than their North American counterparts, and that was the case at the Beast in the East. Instead of him booed for his routine moves, such as a pair of shoulder tackles, the five-knuckle shuffle, and the attitude adjustment, Cena was cheered by the live crowd, which only furthered the idea of this being an extra special event. Overall, the main event tag team match pitting Cena and Dolph Ziggler against Kane and King Barrett did seem a little bit like a house show headliner, but it was still interesting to see it take place in such a fresh environment. With that is, guys, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.